G'day, Starlo here. It's late November and I've headed offshore on a beautiful morning. The forecast just looked too good to stay in bed, so I got up early and got on the water at first light just as the sun cracked the horizon, and I've headed out over my local bar to come out into about 50 metres of water and try for a feed of fish. I'm hoping for some snapper, some mowies, probably try for some flathead as well. I'm going to use a mix of natural baits and Fishbite synthetic baits. All right, let's get into it. There's always that sense of anticipation when you send your first bait down on a new day offshore. Are the fish going to be on the job or not? What's the current going to be doing? So I'm watching my position on the GPS plotter just to see which way I'm drifting. It doesn't seem to be a particularly fast drift at the moment. It looks like I'm going very, very slowly to the south and out to the east. So I'll be able to use that on my next drift to line up some of the spots that I want to hit.
It takes a little while to get your rig to the seabed in 50 odd metres of water, but eventually it arrives and I'm getting bites straight away.
I've had a few little picks, just small fish, but because I'm only using pilchards at the moment, I could well be baited. So I'll pull it up in a second and have a look, and I reckon I might put some fish bites on. There's a little bit of a show of fish on the sounder. A bit hard to say what it is. It doesn't look all that exciting.
Stay in contact with your rig as you drift.
Oh, yep, there's something small.
What's it going to be? I wonder.
Such a lucky dip out in this depth of water. And what we have is the ubiquitous red rock cod. The flower pot, as a mate of mine used to call them because of the size of their mouth, I think. Got to be really careful of those spines. And my pilchards are definitely taking a hammering. I reckon I'm going to put some fish bites on, just so I know I've got a bait down there. Off you go, mate.
Red Rockies are great to eat, but that one was a bit small. Okay, I'll skewer a strip of fish bites onto my top hook now. Just piercing it once with the hook does the job. Okay, let's see how that goes. Send it down and wait. But not for long. Again, I'm getting bites almost immediately. There's a fair few fish down there, and how ideal are these conditions? Beautiful.
Oh, that was a good bite. That was such a good bite. Can't believe I missed it. Oh, there's still fish there. This is the nice thing about using the fish bites. If I'd had a really good bite like that with just pilchard, I'd be 99% sure that the bait was gone, but because I've got a piece of fish bites on there as well, on the other hook, I know I've still got something down there, so I can just leave it, for a bit longer. Oh, what? I'm just not hooking them today. All right, getting bites again. Oh, strange. The fact that I've got that barku jig on there too also means that I'm fishing even if all the bait's gone. There were some really good shows on the sounder where I got the bites, and we're off them a bit now, so I think what I'll do is reel up and just move back up again and do that same drift, because they were a couple of really cracking bites.
So I do exactly that and motor slowly back up to the top of my drift, then send the rig down again.
Oh, it's getting a bit bright. I think I'll put the sunnies on. Oh, that's better.
It takes a little bit longer to get a bite on this drift, but when one finally does come, it's a good one.
Oh, good solid hook up. Oh yeah, that's a better fish. That's a bit more like it. That's what we're after. Ooh, he's actually taking a little bit of line. Oh, wow. This is a good fish. Feels like a snapper. I think I'll need the net for this one. Oh, he's fighting all the way up. Hasn't thrown in the towel, which is always a good sign. I wonder if he'll be on the pilchard on the baku or the bit of fish bites on the dropper above it. Oh yes, it's a lovely snapper. It's on the baku, on the pilchard on the baku. Whew! Yes! That's what I came for. Look at that in the early morning light. How good does that look? I took the half a pilchard on the baku jig. There's my fish bites up there, hanging in there really well. I'll get it in the live well for now, and then very quickly I'll icky spike it and bleed it. I do like these bakus. They double as both a sinker and a lure, and I like fishing them with a bit of bait, either a strip of fish bites or, as I did in this case, half a pilchard. You're gonna need the pliers. Happy about that.
In the live well with this one, I want to get my rig straight back down there.
Yep. Just sort of wound into that fish. It was a funny soft bite, not a very big fish, but it's a little bit active, so could be a smaller snapper. I don't think so though. It might be. No, it's a nanagai. You know, we used to catch heaps of nanagai that size back on these offshore grounds when I was a young bloke. And they've become much scarcer in recent years, especially at the bigger sizes like this. Look at that, he's taken the fish bites, and they are absolutely delicious to eat. Sold as red fish at the markets, and a very, very tasty fish. We get a lot of little ones these days, but that's a better than average one. And they get about 2 or 3 times that size, especially out in the real deep water. But I'll get him in the live well. First one on the fish bites.
Back up to the top of the drift again, and there's definitely some life on the sounder. It looks promising. And sure enough...
Oh, it didn't make it to the bottom. It got absolutely hammered a couple of metres before it got to the bottom, which is a classic snapper indication. Oh yeah, it's a good fish too. That's why you keep your thumb lightly hovering above the spool in case something like that happens, because you can easily backlash your reel. This is definitely a snapper, and it's a good one. It's great when they start coming up off the bottom like that to intercept the rig as it's coming down. Tells you they're fairly active. Oh yeah, oh, taking line. I do love this outfit. I love fishing with overheads in this deeper water. It just seems to give you a lot more control over your rig and the fish when you hook them. I'll just back that drag off a tiny whisker now that I'm down to a shorter length of line, and also I know I've got the fish well off the bottom and away from any kelp or rocks. This one is going to be a keeper if I can land it. Oh yeah, it's actually not as big as the first one, I don't think. Again though, on the pilchard, on the Baku jig, rather than the Fishbites, which is interesting. That's a pretty nice fish though, in anyone's book. I don't normally put my fingers into fish's gills if I'm going to let them go, but this one I'm not letting go. He's coming home for the table. I'll licky spike him and bleed him, get him in the ice slurry. It's going to be a couple of good seafood meals at the Starling household in the next week or two. I do love my offshore trips. I don't do it all that often, but it's usually rewarding.
I now brain spike and bleed both this fish and the first one before placing them in a slurry of seawater and ice. If you're interested in getting one of these U-Butte Icky Pick spikes, I'll put a link here and down below.
Got him. Oh yeah. Now on the job. Not as big. Oh, pigfish. Very nice. On the pilly again though. Very tasty fish those. Might be one for the steamer. Pretty.
And pretty tasty too. Yum.
Look at the mouth on it. Member of the wrasse family.
Straight back into it.
Oh, bite straight away. Got him. Reasonable fish and a bit active. I'd say a small snapper, or smaller snapper. Oh my goodness, a barracuda. Barracuda on the Fishbites and a red rock cod on the pilchard. Now that's really unusual to catch a cuda this late in the year and out of this warmer water. The water on the surface is 18.5 degrees. It must be a fair bit cooler down deeper for me to have pulled a cuda. I'm going to keep him for bait. He's bleeding anyway. And they do make pretty good bait. That silvery skin, really good for flathead. And Mr. Red Rocky can go back. Even though he's a bigger one, and it'd be almost worth knocking a couple of fillets off that one. But I won't bother today. All right, this is starting to happen.
It sure is, and there's plenty of variety as well. I'm on again, and this customer turns out to be a lovely sand flathead. Another welcome addition to the catch. And it was on the Fishbites. They absolutely love this stuff.
Yeah. First mowong of the day. On a strip of barracuda on the Baku. Not a particularly big mowie, but a very tasty one.
A lot of people diss the humble mowie, rather unfairly, I reckon.
I do like them. In fact, in our household, we like them at least as much as snapper.
The big trick is to fillet and skin them before cooking.
Good stuff.
What's next to come up?
Oh my goodness. A huge pike and a nice pan-sized snapper. Look at that. Beautiful eating size snapper. About 38 centimetres long. It's funny, he's got a little hump starting to form. And on the other hook, one of the biggest longfin, yellowfin pike that I've seen in a long while. Smelly things. They're actually pretty good to eat too if you eat them really fresh. I don't need to worry about it with what I've caught today though. So, oh, Mr. Toothy Pike can go back. Good live bait too for both jewfish and yellowtail kings. But that snapper will be coming home. I've got 3 now. I'm going to set my personal limit at 5. See if I can get 5. And that'll be more than enough. They're long-lived and fairly slow growing. I had one aged recently by New South Wales Fisheries that was only just over 40 centimetres long, so a bit longer than this one. But it was 9 years old, so down in these cooler southern waters they do grow quite slowly. I think it's a good idea not to overdo it. Just take what you need and can immediately use. Oh, what a day. Beautiful. It's only about 8:30. I'll be back in time for a late breakfast.
Especially at this rate, I'm on again next drop.
Another nice eating snapper. That's 4. One more will do me.
But maybe not. The bite's definitely slowing.
Well, I might get my 5th snapper. I can feel the very first puffs of the nor'easter starting to kick in, and I really don't want to stay out here in that, so I'm going to pull the pin in a minute. It's not even 9 o'clock yet. I got 4 beautiful snapper. I just had a really good bite then. Oh, 4 beautiful snapper, a pigfish, a mowong. I'm pretty happy with that. There's no reason to pig out. Just take what you need, and there'll be plenty there for next time. Oh, I just might get that last one. Getting a couple of good bites there. I might give it 5 more minutes. Anyway, I hope you picked up a few little tips from this, and I'll catch you next time. Until then, tight lines.